to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Pitch on the way. Fernando swings, sends it in the air to deep right center field. Edman is back. This time all he can do is watch. It's going to go. Another home run. Padres with their 6th home run of the night. Fernando with his 2nd. It is 10-1 at Dodger Stadium.
And with that, the National League Divisional Series between the Padres and Dodgers is even at a game apiece as the teams take a day off today and then get ready to go back at it, games 3 and 4, right here in San Diego Petco Park tomorrow night and Wednesday. Welcome in, everybody, to Gwynn and Chris on a off-day Monday as we roll along here during the 2024 Major League Baseball playoffs. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Matt Skraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. And I will say, right off the top, Tony Gwynn Jr., I really didn't feel like coming on here today and having to explain to everybody how it was that the Padres were down 2-0, trying to keep everybody's hopes alive of a 3-game sweep. But luckily, the Padres did not put us in that position. They brought the heavy lumber last night to Dodger Stadium, and that's going to be remembered, right? 6 home runs, tying a postseason record. But what I'll always remember about that game last night was a master at his craft. At the top of his game, Yu Darvish with a brilliant performance. Tony, to help the Padres get even.
Matt, you all right over here, man? You see, this camera is like...
Yeah, what are you doing, Matt?
He's having a tough time today.
I'm trying to get Tony's camera set up. You didn't need to call me out for it, but I am.
Well, I just paused in what I was talking about, and obviously there was not a smooth transition there.
It was me.
There we go.
I'll take
we got it now. We got it now.
All right.
So, Tony, we're even, 1-1. What do you think?
Yes. I can't say I'm surprised. This is kind of what this Padre team has done all year. They have I think Xander kind of put it perfectly. All losses in postseason are tough losses. Whether you win, whether you lose by 1, you lose by 10.
Right.
They're all tough. And the Padres have shown us all season long that after a tough loss, I mean, some of them seemingly gut-wrenching at times, they always bounce back as if it never happened. Last night was another good example of that. They set the tone early. Toddy goes yard. Following inning, Profar takes a run off the board.
Oh, man, we got to talk about that.
And then Yu Darvish just was brilliant. I mean, it was a master class of, as John Smoltz said, manipulating the baseball at its highest level. And, none of us should really be surprised by anything that happened last night. Maybe the final score you can be surprised with, but in terms of how they played and them getting a W after a tough loss, I don't think there's nothing to be surprised about. That was it was a wonderful performance in a hostile environment. And you know what? The Padres, maybe Jerickson Profar himself matched the energy that was in the building. and it was really it was a different way. Like the Padres have in this postseason, I said this on the air, the Padres in this postseason have beat a team by stringing together like 6 hits in a row.
Right.
They've played small ball, and they've also did what they did last night was slug you to death.
Big boy ball?
Big boy ball. Yeah, it was big bully ball.
Yeah, it was.
And that's what makes this team so dangerous. They had a chance to win game 1, but they didn't complete their recipe, right? Good starting pitching, good offense.
Bullpen wasn't great, though. And the defense wasn't great.
That's what I'm saying. In the game 1.
Right.
In game 1. Yeah. They didn't have their recipe, yet they still had a chance to win that game late in that ball game. Yeah. Yesterday, they put their recipe together, and that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like during the regular season. And the way these guys approach it, I don't expect it to change because we're in the postseason now.
Yeah, they cooked up a marvelous performance last night, and it started with Darvish, as you said, as I said, as Smoltz said, as Alex Rodriguez. It was interesting because they went to the post game on Fox. I know you're in the radio booth, Tony, but the guy brought him in. I think it was Matt Vasgersian hosting last night on the post game, and he goes, "Well, the Padres really, 6 home runs and an incredible this and that, and the highlights and the fireworks." And Derek Jeter said, "It was really all about you, Darvish."
It was.
And
it really
he was right, and that's coming from a hitter.
Yeah.
And Alex Rodriguez said the same thing. It was about you, Darvish, last night. The Padres were playing really with no room for error. You don't want to fall down 2-0. Your season wouldn't have been over, but you would have been in bad shape.
Yeah.
And you're holding on to a 1 or 2 run lead the entire game. Darvish cannot afford to wobble at any point. And with the help of his defense, he didn't, and I just loved it. I mean, Profar started it. That play is going to be shown over and over. We'll talk about that and everything that transpired in the wake of that. But Fernando made an unbelievable running catch to stop Freeman from getting a leadoff double. Arise picked one out of the air on a hot ground ball. Manny made one of his great plays in the 8th inning to throw out Tommy Edman, but it got overturned on replay. Doesn't change the fact it was something that no other third baseman could do. So defensively, they were just, superstars out there. And, Darvish led the way, but then they got the hitting going. Fernando is absolutely insane right now. He's got a 1,400 slugging percentage. He's got a 2,100 OPS in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That'll get it done. Merrill has just – I know that you can't vote for the Rookie of the Year now, but I know Paul Skeens isn't doing anything at the moment. And Jackson continues the 3 RBI game. The home run to the opposite field, Tony, that's at Dodger Stadium at night. Speak to how difficult it is to get the ball up and out of there to the opposite field in nighttime in L.A. Not easy to do. He just put a charge into that ball. Higashioka's got 3 home runs in 4 games.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, what Jackson's doing the same thing he's been doing. Nothing changed.
I know, nothing's different.
Nothing's changed. He is this. He's a flat line, in a high version of that, right? How difficult? I mean, it's the same as hitting at one at Petco Park. How many times we see him go Apple Taco here?
Not too often. Well, he can do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he did it. He's done it multiple times opposite field here at Petco Park. So, again, nothing surprises there. I think, typically you got an inning to get to good pitching. You got one of them early innings before they settle in. The Dodgers had their shot. Second inning, they had the bases loaded. No one out.
Yeah.
They got 1 run. And that is a testament to you, Darvish, and how good he is.
Didn't he look rattled after the bases were loaded?
Did he look? No, he did.
That's what I mean.
Trick question.
I was a trick question. I was rattled. I'm sure every Padre fan in existence was rattled, but the guy who needed to stay calm was just fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there was 1 hit in 7 through 9 in that Dodger lineup. The night before, they had 5 hits at the 7, 8, 9 spot. And to me, that was the difference.
That's a huge deal because if Ohtani comes up with nobody on, you can deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a different game when you don't. That was the problem. And Mike Shildt highlighted it before the game.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9 went, let's see.
Well, they had
2
5.
for 4, 2 for 4, 1 for 3.
And 2 walks.
So
they were on base 8 times in that first game.
And
that's
so,
way too many.
Guess what that means? Ohtani's coming up in damaged situations.
Ducks on the pond.
Right. And so, that's a dangerous game you play. And so the following day, you Darvish, phenomenal. Kept those guys off the board for whatever. I mean, and by the way, he held Ohtani hitless in his time out there. So it was a masterclass in terms of pitching and how it's done. And now you've stolen home field advantage. And you get to run Michael King out there on Game 3. You feel pretty darn good about that after the way he threw his first start. Padres are in a good spot for sure.
Well, they're in the same spot they were a year ago, or 2 years ago, of course. And, we have to remind everybody, just because they won games 3 and 4 here 2 years ago,
that's right,
doesn't mean the Dodgers are going to step aside and let them win the next 2 games. I still believe, Tony, with everything that's said, and we've hit on it here, it's still about playing the game well. You're going to have
100%.
to play well. And in game 1, as you said, the Padres did not mix in all of their ingredients. Too many walks. You put Will Smith on after an 0-2 count. He ends up scoring the first run of the game. You wild pitch home another run. Manny makes an uncharacteristic error. That gave them an insurance run later in the game. And, this is not to blame Jackson Merrill, but I fully expected him to catch that ball with the bases loaded. But I think it had a little more topspin on it. Tony, please speak to me about this, because I know you've had to try to make that play. When he came in on it from the angle of television, I thought he's going to make a catch about ankle high, but it dipped just in front of him, and that was obviously a big play too. I don't hold that against them defensively, but overall it just wasn't their finest night.
Yeah, I think. There was runners on second and third there.
Yeah.
And they had to, at least the guy at second had to hold up just in case he caught that. But I think, trying to think as I remember, was there 2 outs? There was 2 outs.
I think there was 2 outs, bases loaded. Yeah, they were moving. Yeah.
I just thought that he didn't. I just thought that I don't know that ball had topspin on it. I just think he was playing deep enough.
Just playing too deep.
With Teoscar
not too deep. No,
not
just
too
was
deep.
playing deep. Right.
He's playing where he's supposed to.
Yeah.
It was just going to be a tough play, and you at that point, I didn't mind the fully go for it, because we just pointed out, with 2 outs, those guys are on the move anyway. They're scoring if it's not caught. So maybe next time you dive, because ultimately, but
right, Fernando did a good job. He was there backing up,
and that's where he's supposed to be, right? And so I didn't have a problem. I thought he played that as well as he could play it. I just didn't think he could get to it. It was unfortunate. He can't get to everything, right?
In that regard, that's right. So, but in game 1, I thought ultimately the Padres helped them score 2 or 3 runs, and we already know this. The Dodgers are so good they don't need the help. Last night, they spent the game taking runs off the board, and that started with Profar's catch in the first inning. They're going to have to keep playing like that to beat the Dodgers. You've got to play with very little room for error against that team, and I know the Padres know this.
Really, all of them. Arise made a nice play at first. Everybody was throwing the leather around a little bit in last night's game, and that was just a piece, one of the elements of how they have success. Some of the at-bats, they were. It was interesting, because in game 1, Dave Roberts talked a lot about in past postseasons for the Dodgers. They kind of sat and waited for things to happen, and from an offensive standpoint, kind of sat and waited for certain pitches. In game 1, they were aggressive on the fastball. Dylan Cease is a power arm.
Right.
So they were ready. They weren't ready for what Yu Darvish in that mix. The type of spin, and John Smoltz mentioned it. You brought it up about him being one of the. I think he said you said
he's the best he's ever seen.
Best manipulator he's ever seen.
Yeah,
and so that was on full display, and the Dodgers just didn't have it. They didn't have an answer for it.
It was awesome, but all it is 1-1. I know it feels like the Padres are in the driver's seat, maybe to a certain extent they are. But it's just 1 win. It counts the same as the Dodgers win in game 1. You're going to have to do it all over again 2 more times to get through this series.
It would be silly to think that they're in the driver's seat. We do have that Jerickson Profar.
I'm looking forward to hearing this, and now that I'm looking at the time, we're going to have to come back with it on the other side.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. We'll come back with it. We'll talk about his catch and what it meant and what it all led to at Dodger Stadium last night. We'll also tell you about tomorrow's plans. We are going to be broadcasting live down in the Gas Lamp tomorrow at Baja Rick's Cantina. So we'll tell you all about that, and we'll tell you what's coming up on the show today. You are going to feel like you are covering the National League Divisional Series during our program today. We're going to take you live down to Petco Park a couple of times on the show. So all of that to come. We're here until 4:30, Skraby?
Yes, 4:30.
Why did you look over there?
I don't know, Tony.
I turned it down. You keep hearing the bing. You hearing that?
Yes, but I didn't say anything.
No, I know, but I just want you to know I tried to turn this thing down.
Okay.
All right, we got a
Thank
lot.
you. Thank you for turning that down, Tony. I appreciate it.
A lot to do, and
yes,
as you can,
4:30. Sorry, Chris.
Okay,
Chiefs Saints.
we have a lot to do, and as you can tell, we're smoothly going about our business here,
Just like we do.
Yes, like we do on Gwynn and Chris. Welcome to it.
What's up, everybody?
into the stands, and he can't make the catch. A home run. Profar had a shot, but he had to go into enemy territory. Did he end up catching it?
He did indeed.
Oh, my goodness. Profar did go into enemy territory, and he does make the catch, and unbelievably, the Padre lead is still 1-0.
Now, I know if my partner Jesse is listening right now, he is probably livid.
Oh, he'd be mad at himself.
We played that.
But how is he supposed to know?
He's
no
not.
one knew.
He's not. And I'm gonna give you the full breakdown of how this.
And it's
goes.
actually a perfect call because that's what everybody thought.
It is a perfect
The
call.
graphics went up on the screen.
Let me tell you.
Right, the graphics went.
It said home run
And the umpire signaled home run.
And that.
So come on.
And that is what Jesse's looking at as the
Yeah.
umpire. They're the official guy.
You're the guy.
They're the
Yeah.
official guy on the field. And once they do this, they give that circle sign.
Sure.
That's a homer. And so that is what Jesse's going off because he's figuring, the umpire's not going to call that unless he knows that it's a homer.
Yeah, I think Jesse's call is perfect.
It
If
was
you're
fine.
out there, Jesse, don't fret that one.
Now, I have the luxury of being first of all, and it doesn't help that where we are, our booth is situated, it's already towards the left field line. So you're fighting through that line of that camera line that they have there. You got the foul pole. And just the kind of way it arcs around, it's kind of tough to see from our angle.
Yeah.
And so I have the luxury of, because I'm not actually talking at that point, I'm just watching the ball, watching Jerickson. I saw it immediately. But, I can't, in the middle of his call, jump in there and say something.
You did it perfectly as well.
I was, trying to negotiate
How to say it.
how to get his attention, but
Sure.
he's locked in on Adrian Johnson. And so, Adrian Johnson's the one that screwed the call up.
He did. When you speaking for those of the rest of us who watched it on television, I thought that it was an optical illusion. And what I mean by that is watching it the first time, I thought he caught it. But when they put the home run graphic up and Mookie Betts is raising his arm and basically the broadcast is saying it's a home run, I thought I just didn't see it right. And then when he hopped up and down, Profar, I thought he was hopping up and down because he was mad at himself that he missed it. And then, oh, man.
See, I
the
read
joy when they found out he really caught it was incredible.
I read it differently because he was still, if you're going to jump up and be upset that you missed, you're going to kind of turn away from the crowd because the crowd is going to be in your –
True.
They're going to be in your face. But
He
the fact
stayed
that
with his
he was
face
staying
right
right there, and that was also the confirmation for me because I
Yeah.
thought I saw it going, but then when I saw him multiple times jump up, not turn away from the crowd, I was like, you know what? He definitely caught that. And sure enough, he pulled it out of his glove. First of all, it was a tremendous play.
Yes, it was.
Getting to the wall, timing it, and I think it psychologically, you just literally, in their Dodgers' mind, they had one on the board right there.
Yeah.
And then it comes off the board.
He took it off the board.
I feel
Fernando.
so bad about it.
I
too.
don't. But you know what? That was just the beginning of Jerickson's evening with the left field bleachers.
Yes, it was.
And whatever happening transpired around the seventh inning, it's something almost everybody's talking about in lieu of, Darvish and in lieu of the 6 home runs. Everybody's talking about, the Dodger fans, they behaved awful. They did. They throw stuff on the field. That's totally uncalled for. And, I'm going to just right now implore the Padre fans, going to use Will Ferrell, right? Stay classy, San Diego. We don't need to do the same thing. We don't need a repeat of that when the Dodgers are here. Take the high road. There's less traffic, I think is the old saying. So, let's not do the same. 2 wrongs don't make a right. But at the same time, Tony, you were there. You had the atmosphere. Fernando and Jerickson, they do okay poking the bear a little bit.
Of
And
course.
I think they kind of contributed to a little of what was going on.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I am a huge proponent of sticking it to the fans when you can.
Okay.
Because you don't get that. You don't get the hammer very often. It's in the game of baseball, right? You're gonna make out 70% of the time if you're really, really, really good. You're gonna make a couple plays. You're gonna kick some balls around too. And they're going to let you know about it every time you do it, especially on the road. Yep. And so I imagine even before the first ball was hit to Jerickson Profar, before he even stepped into the on-deck circle, he probably heard something about how terrible he was and what he wasn't going to do that day.
In game one.
And not to mention what happened in game one, right? So you make a play like that.
You think anybody yelled out that he might have been Mr. Irrelevant from the stands somewhere?
Yeah, I'm sure that was thrown out there quite
a few times.
So, you know, Will Smith gives those eyes to Jerickson Profar like he still has a little bit of hatred in him for Jerickson.
Listen, what I love is that this is the type of series we have. I think it's great for baseball. People who are tuned in that don't watch baseball during the course, they're looking at the Padres-Dodgers series like, this is nuts.
It's going to be
I need more
even
of this.
Crazier.
I need more of this. And so I'm not mad at Prof giving it to the fans. I think it's over the line throwing baseballs or whatever objects were you were throwing at him. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind them also. This is what playoff baseball is supposed to look like. If you flip the channel over to New York, you think it was any different in the New York Philly game?
I can't imagine Brando Nimmo is getting Christmas cards from the left field stands in
Absolutely
Philadelphia.
Not. He was having words with Realmuto after his homer. So listen, the bottom line is you got two really good teams that are really talented and that want to win more than anything. And when you get into that type of environment, you know, everybody's a little more sensitive. Everybody is going to react to pretty much anything thrown their way. And we saw that throughout the game, right? I mean, you had Toddy get hit.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Should we wait? We don't have a guest next. We don't have a guest next segment.
No, we're all open.
Let's hold on to that. Skraby, I think you have something to tell people.
I do, because this just came in right before the show, but Chris and I are going to be down at Baja Rick's Cantina.
Oh, I did mention that, but thank you for,
Yes, we have to give all the deets.
Yes.
It's a live broadcast. It's actually going to be all day long, so we're going to be there at 2, but Ben and Woods are going to kick things off at 6 a.m., followed by Annie and Elston, and then us. Baja Rick's is located at 176th Avenue across from the Hard Rock. It's presented by Santo Super Premium, additive-free tequila. Santo, work hard, play loud. So Baja Rick's Cantina tomorrow starting at 6 a.m.
Additive-free tequila.
Additive-free tequila.
Ooh.
That's probably smoother.
You know, there's all these new inventions in alcohol.
Additive-free, baby.
Weren't there when I was drinking, okay?
you got the bad stuff.
When I was drinking uphill both ways in snow, okay?
You drank the worm at the bottom of the bottle.
Oh, gosh. I have never... I was so grossed out as a kid by that worm in the tequila.
Oh, yeah, I was too.
I didn't ever drink tequila in my life, really.
Just keep the animals out of my drinks, please.
And people love that worm. It's so weird.
Let's get to break. We got a lot to cover over.
No tequila worms?
No tequila worms.
Okay.
No. We got a lot to cover over game 1, game 2, when we return, including a little spat, if you will, between Padres and Dodgers. And we're going to Chris on the other side.
Ben and Woods on the
the left field line. It is way back and gone. A home run into the Dodger bullpen down the left field line. Fernando gets him again, and it's 1-0 here in the first.
Padres get off to a good start in Game 2, just as they did in Game 1. But the outcome went San Diego's way last night, 10-2 the final. The series is even at 1-1. Day off ahead of Game 3 here on Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. As Skraby mentioned, tomorrow join us at Baja Rick's Cantina, 170 6th Avenue. And we'll be broadcasting live from 2 to 5. The game starts at 6 o'clock or just after 6 o'clock tomorrow night. So come on by down in the gas lamp, spend some time with us in the pregame. And then we'll all head over to the ballpark for Game 3. Should also mention that the American League series right now between Detroit and Cleveland, pretty good game going on in Game 2. They're in the top of the 6th inning right now, scoreless. Tarek Skubal for Detroit retired the first 13 batters, struck out 7 before allowing a double to Josh Naylor. Remember him? And Skubal then got out of that inning. They're in the 6th, and there is no score later tonight. The Royals and the Yankees, as the National League Series, get a breather today. Coming up on the show at 3 o'clock, or right thereafter, we're going to take you to Petco Park. And Mike Shildt is going to be meeting with the media. You will be in on that press conference. And then a little after 3:15, tomorrow night starting pitcher Michael King will meet with the media, and you will be in on that press conference as well. The only thing you won't be able to do as a listener to this station is ask a question of Mike Shildt, but you will feel like you were there. That's coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. In the 4 o'clock hour, we haven't forgot that the 49ers lost yesterday. We will have a good, bad, and ugly week number 5 of the National Football League. Skraby, where are you? Are you just not here when I'm making fun of the 49ers?
He wasn't paying attention. He clearly wasn't paying attention.
You didn't hear that?
I was texting the boss.
That was a well-timed dig at the 49ers.
No, the 49ers
there.
are awful. There's nothing about it. They keep
Wait till about week 14, Tony, when they're 11-3.
I'm not going to panic.
And then they'll go, "Oh, we're the greatest team of all time."
I'm taking my lessons from Padres baseball and transferring
You don't even take
Niner
your Padres
football.
baseball lessons to the Padre games. How are you going to take them to the 49er game? How does this work?
2 and 3 is fine. If they keep losing fourth quarter leads to inferior teams, I might stop being a fan.
No, you just said, "Oh, brother.
Stop it."
You just said that
we can't take
you just
you
said that they're
seriously.
horrible, so you can't say later on in the year that they're great.
No, I said they're okay. Let me rephrase that. They're terrible right now,
and I'm enjoying every minute of that. All right. Last night,
Yes.
there were so many different things to unpack from that game last night. Of course, the Padres hit a postseason record-tying 6 home runs. I was a little surprised by that. Like in the history of postseason baseball, like the Yankees never hit 7 home runs in a game in one of those World Series somewhere
That's
along
a lot.
the line.
That's a lot of home
And
It
runs.
is,
but
but you would have just thought, Mickey Mantle and all those guys, but nobody's ever hit 7, and only 2 other teams had hit 6, I think, 2 or 3, so it was really something special. We talked about the Padres' defense was just off the charts, and nothing was better than Yu Darvish's performance, but a lot of people are going to remember this game for the bad blood that boiled over. Again, Tony, we're not surprised by this. We know what these teams think about each other. We also know that they both think they're great teams. And when you get 2 alpha dogs going head-to-head, to me, it doesn't surprise that things got a little testy last night. Now, Tatis got hit by Jack Flaherty, and it was a 3-1 game when that happened. Tatis certainly, I thought, showed his displeasure by walking ever so slowly down to first base. Profar came up, and then he had a word or two with his best friend, Will Smith, and then he settled in and took his at-bat, and I think he got aboard. Oh, he had the bunt. He laid that bunt down.
which was amazing.
Beautiful bunt.
Great antagonizer.
It really
right there.
is.
Love
He is something,
that's a move out of my book right
That's
there.
a blood-boiling move.
That's a great move. Oh, are we going to do this? First, let me correct a couple things.
Yes.
Jerickson, I believe, was talking to their either to Doc Roberts or Mark Pryor. He was talking.
Oh, he wasn't talking.
He was talking
to Will
to
Smith.
the dugout.
Oh, he was.
Yes, for sure. Because as he's saying that, as he's talking, I'm looking at Will Smith like he's not even he's still got his head down. He's not even reacting.
I thought he
and
was
then Dave
talking to
Roberts
Will
comes up
Smith.
the step because Jerickson's talking to the bench, right? Because I think the assumption is that Jack did that on purpose. Yeah. Now, that's a debate that I think both sides will be on the opposite side of.
He said after the game,
I'm going to be on the Dodgers side. I cannot believe that he would try to hit him right there.
The way they had been swinging the bat to that, it'd be dumb,
right?
To now put your leadoff guy on what ended up happening anyway.
That's exactly what Jack Flaherty said after the game. But I was listening to the radio broadcast last night, Tony, and you said it's a little. You didn't say it in these terms. You said he hit a homer and then a double and then he gets hit, so it's a little curious.
So the optics of it.
The optics, yes,
don't look good.
In a regular season game, I could buy it, but I just can't believe he did that.
I don't believe he did that person. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The other team believes you did.
Okay, so you got an issue.
And in this type of environment, people are going to let you know about it. Now, another thing I say is this. What I think this generation of athlete is much better at, excuse me, is they know how to separate what's in between the line and what's outside the lines. Because, I know that Manny and Mookie have a relationship, right? They are both Jordan guys. I know a lot of these guys know each other very well.
Fernando just did a podcast with Mookie.
Exactly. So, in terms of them hating each other, I don't believe that's true. What I do believe is that they're down for their teammates under every circumstance. That doesn't mean they got to hate you in order to be down to have their teammates back. And I think that's where, again, love the bump by Prof. It's just money, right? First and second. Now you got Manny come up. Now we get to the next altercation.
Yes, and this is where, without question, Flaherty, I'm going to absolve him of hitting Tatis on purpose, but I'm not going to absolve him for politely asking Manny to sit down after he struck him out. So, will you please have a seat, sir? Wasn't that what he said? No? Did you look? John Boy Media was able to refute that?
They definitely were able to refute that.
Yeah.
It wasn't so polite, as you say.
Sure.
And listen, I don't have a problem with that either, but you got to be prepared for the smoke that comes after that, right? And so, Manny, I don't think initially heard it.
I don't think he did.
I'm pretty sure that his teammates let him know what was said, and then Manny it has to, defend himself at that point. Because, listen, I don't care who you are. I don't know too many men that are going to let you get away with telling them to sit down
under any circumstances, let alone when you're in that kind of
environment.
Here's what Manny said to Kevin Acee and reporters after the game. Quote, "When you try to hit our best hitter, you can't get him out. Don't hit him. They got the best player in the game, right? Ohtani. We don't go out there and try to hit Ohtani. We try to get him out. Don't go out there and try to hit my guy." And that's when it went to Jack Flaherty saying, "I wasn't trying to go and hit him to try and lead off an inning or anything like that. That doesn't make any sense." But Manny last night proved to me why he is the leader of this team, because he called that meeting in the middle of the game.
Does anybody still doubt that?
No. What I'm saying is
I think people do doubt that.
Yeah.
But now hopefully they saw what they saw last night, so they can stop questioning.
Let me get to that because I think we decipher the confrontation between Manny and Flaherty. That continues into the field. Flaherty, I watched him. He purposely went and sat at the end of that dugout and was waiting for Manny to come out there. So that jawing continues.
Well, there was one little thing that happened before, according to Flaherty anyway. Manny, at the end of the infield warm-ups,
he threw the ball.
Into the Dodger dugout.
Manny didn't deny that. He said he often
does that, but Flaherty said he didn't just lob it in there. He
threw it in there hard.
Put a little extra steam on it.
So listen,
that was his excuse for coming out to the top step.
All is fair in love and war, right? And so these two, at this point, it's a competitive natured thing, and so there's some jawing. But
we played really good baseball, man.
Here is the best part of the whole entire thing. I think at some point during that exchange, I think it dawned on Manny that, you know what? This is moving away from where
we need to be.
Yeah. And I think that's what preceded that team meeting when they got into that dugout.
A beautiful thing.
Because and it was real time leadership, like that you don't often get a chance to see. Because you don't often get a chance to see all of that stuff transpire and then the huddle. And it was like, I don't know what was said. There was no mics down there, but I'm almost sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have audio actually of Manny after the game, and AJ Castle asked him about what was said in that huddle.
Go for it.
What is your message in the bottom of the after the bottom of the 7th inning? All to go together. What is
Just stay focused, man. I mean, stay focused, taxing hand. We got 7 outs, 9 outs left. You know, go out there and try to finish out the game and stay focused in what we need to do and accomplish. You know, the game was far from over, so we have to go out there and continue to compete.
With all the responding to all that, is that like given what you've done all season long? Is that not surprising you?
Yeah, I mean, it's this team, man. This team has fought all year, and we're going to continue to do it.
I'm so glad. I hadn't heard that. What I was about to tell you was
It's our
just
guy Adam Klug in the clubhouse.
that's what I was about to tell you was just what my guess was what was said, but it was exactly that. Hey, lock in, stay focused. This ain't about none of that we out here right for. We are out here to win this game and win this series. So let's lock in. I thought that was very masterful of Manny. We used that word a couple times.
I hope that next year Manny's struggling at some point and people call up and say Manny's this, that, and the other. So we can remind them of what happened.
Yeah, no, it's
last
inevitable.
night. That was sensational.
I thought that was fantastic.
That was. Now, and you know what my favorite part? You said your favorite part. Here was my favorite part. Yeah, I'll go meet you out in the parking lot. Manny to Flaherty.
Yeah.
Flaherty was ready to take it outside. I think Manny was ready for a moment, and then that's when he caught himself.
Wait, was there actual parking lot? Did someone say
No,
that?
but when they were
That's
yelling
Willie
at each other,
Thomas did it last week.
when they were yelling at each other, that's what I perceived they were saying is let's go meet outside.
And that, as a matter of fact, here's the deal. Even in the Milwaukee case, the Milwaukee team goes out a completely different side than the visiting team, and the same goes at Dodger Stadium. You'd have to really want to.
You'd have to get a ride from the bus over to the other side.
They pretty much exit behind, like in between home plate and third base, is where the home team exits at Dodger Stadium. We exit out in right field, so you would have had to he would have had to drive over there, and in that traffic, he probably ain't driving over there anytime soon. He'd have been gone. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I that stuff to me is just like the extra stuff that. Nobody's really trying to throw from the shoulders like that anymore.
No, I mean, Jesse Winker might deserve it, though.
Quite frankly, we don't want Manny throwing them from the shoulders right now. We can't have no broken thumbs, no broken hand.
No.
None of that. So, but I love that both teams matching the energy. Padres get the best of it, though.
Yeah, John Smoltz, again, I'm going to quote him because I think he does a great job. But he said, if you even remotely like baseball, you are just an idiot if you miss games 3 and 4.
For sure.
Because it's just going to get more heightened. I don't believe it's going to get crazy between the teams, but I know it's going to get heated at least, 7 or 8 more times. I'm pretty sure the crowd is going to be loaded for bear, and I'm going to say the same thing I said half an hour ago. Let's not let's
classy.
Not do what they did. Let's not throw stuff out on the field. We don't need to do that.
Represent the city well.
Yeah, that doesn't look good on anybody. But the atmosphere is going to be incredible. The games, the intensity, the level of play is going to be incredible. It's already been tense for 1 3/4 games. I mean, I think you were finally able to take a deep breath when after Merrill's home run, then Bogarts and Higashioka, I was like, okay, finally.
Going back to the first game, I after the fourth, I turned to Jesse and I said, hey, man, I hope they slow down at this point because I'm barely we're going to be exhausted. After this game.
Yeah.
And it ended up settling down and we kind of caught able to catch our breath. But
you know who was pretty exhausted after the game? Probably Joe Davis for all of his love of Shohei Ohtani during the broadcast on Saturday.
Here we go.
I know you guys don't agree with me at all.
And I know all the people who sit in the nickel seats do agree with you.
Well, here's the thing. I on Saturday night watched that broadcast pretty closely, and I was not mad at Joe Davis. I was mad at the Fox graphic people for putting up when Shohei was coming up, maybe every single inning, and when it was too much for me was when they said he's due up 4th next inning. You get 3 outs in baseball. So if they get 3 outs, he's not coming up. Why are you saying he's due up 4th? Last night, way better broadcast. I didn't feel like there was
They did the same thing last night. You just didn't notice it because the Padres are winning.
That's
They did the exact same thing. My wife mentioned it, so I know they did it last night.
They did the exact same
thing. You're trying to say that they only did it one night. Shohei Ohtani is the Michael Jordan right now.
Listen,
he's going to get that kind of coverage.
He should,
Manny said it in that
Why
statement.
shouldn't he? He's unbelievable.
He said Ohtani is the best player in the game. And he told us that when we interviewed him.
And so you know what? When the best player in the game is playing it, regardless of whether it's the Padres or the Oakland A's or whoever it may be, they're going to put that little graphic up there. The dude started his own club this year. I don't listen. I would have rather him still playing for the Angels, quite frankly. But he doesn't. He plays for the Dodgers. So
now, did he
we happen to be playing
on his in his first postseason at bat?
Let me tell you
that was incredible.
Let me tell you how different Shohei Ohtani is. They don't even put his numbers on the scoreboard when he comes to play. It is an advertisement for some type of face cream.
What?
Yes, it's the only player I've ever seen in the history.
Is he the one advertising it?
It's him. He's him
got face cream on?
He's got a face cream. They don't put no numbers up like everybody else.
20 homers, 50 RBI.
Or the regular picture with his name like they do he's got a facial cream that is
insane.
And that's how different he is compared to everybody.
But I get that. Ohtani doesn't seem like a guy who wants to be different. He seems like a guy who honestly loves playing baseball, and he's just very good.
It don't matter if he wants to be. He is.
He can't help it. He's a totally different animal.
He is. I get it.
You got to cover him unlike any other player.
It's
too bad he doesn't play for us right now, but just deal with it.
Yeah, I mean it is. The thing is, it's not a Padre thing. It's if Shohei and the Dodgers were playing whoever, if it would have been flip flopped, if Mets came here. They would have been putting that bad boy up there, too.
I understand that.
You know, it's just,
I think it's bad when a broadcast claims to be neutral, but they're clearly favoring one player. If they put up Fernando coming up in two bats or whatever,
it's not the same.
They didn't put it up for Barkley. They didn't put it up for Ewing.
The NBA is so much different.
But I'm giving you the same thing. Ohtani's the Jordan of the sport right now.
He's going to get different treatment.
I'll tell you who else they used it for.
Jordan didn't always score 50 points, but he still got the coverage.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on,
best player.
I don't expect Tony to know anything about the broadcast because he was working the game.
I do, and I'm telling you.
Here's the deal.
You're off base.
Sunday was okay. Saturday was too much.
I know.
And Sunday they won, and Saturday they lost.
I know Joe Davis and John Smoltz. I know they aren't homers.
Then why did he say Joe Davis, about the Dodgers?
Get out of here.
That was me desperately hanging on for my argument, okay?
All right, when we come back, or shortly thereafter, we'll take you to Petco Park. Mike Shildt speaking to the media on this off day ahead of Game 3. Dodgers, Padres, more Gwynn and Chris coming up.
contingent on what happens in Game 3?
Not necessarily contingent upon Game 3. We do have an idea. We're going to finalize today and maybe announce something either today or tomorrow.
Is Dylan Cease an option for that on short rest?
All options are on the table at this point.
Mike, now that you've had some time to kind of reflect on the first 2 games of the series, you were at the Cardinals, obviously, around one of the most kind of classic rivalries in the game.
Right.
How, at this point in time, do the Dodgers and Padres kind of compare?
I mean, it's very, first of all, the geography creates a, natural rivalry, enthusiasm amongst 2 fan bases. So that's very unique and exciting, and fun to be a part of and experience. As far as reflection on the first 2 games, I mean, hard-fought games. I was really pleased with how our guys responded to yesterday, not only coming back from being down a game, but also the circumstances during the game. It was, it allowed us to, we're a very close team, but it created a deeper bond with our club.
Mike, speaking about that moment, just Manny Machado, the leadership that he showed in the 7th inning, and just what kind of leadership have you seen from him in this season that you've been with the Padres?
Yeah, leadership can be in a couple of different ways. Manny's done a tremendous job. I'm really proud of him. I'm really grateful for him. He's really taken some of the next steps and been a leader. But the 2 forms are by your actions, which Manny's done exceptionally well. How he goes about it, how he takes care of himself, how he takes care of his teammates, how he plays the game, so that his actions speak louder than words. And last night, though, he did a really nice job of being able, in a very different environment, you could say hostile, a lot of emotions going on, just making sure that everybody was staying present and focused appropriately, and use his words, and his words were very well delivered. So I thought it was an excellent job of Manny showing that he's a leader of this club.
Come down here on the left side, second row to Bob.
Hey, Mike, after that win last night, the emotional win, what was it like just coming back here on the bus or cars, however you guys got here? What was that feeling like?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Sense of satisfaction, like I said, there's wins and there's wins. That was a nice win to be able to come back. We come to our park, with a split. Feel good about that. Broke the home field advantage. Sense of satisfaction with the way we, like I said, we competed, the way we stayed together, the way we, played baseball and executed. So there was a sense of accomplishment there. And then it was, a little bit of decompression to get ready to do it again.
Thanks.
Yep.
Front row here on the left.
Mike, your thoughts on the offensive performance of Fernando Tatis, what he's doing, 9 of 14, no strikeouts over the postseason, and what his personality brings?
His personality, I love it. I love our personality of our club. I love the fact that they're unique, and they're themselves. All our guys are free to be them, and but they do it in a team setting with their teammates, at the forefront of it. But Toddy's got just a beautiful personality. He's a showman that has amazing ability, but respects the game highly. As far as what he's doing, he's letting his ability take place. He's doing a lot of good hunting. And what I mean by that is, he's getting balls he can put swings on and just not trying to do too much with it. He's taking his walks, but everything he's doing is in the zone. And he's just looking to put good swings on the baseball, and he's playing good in every facet. He made a great play yesterday on the ball in the gap. Got a force already on the bases and clearly taking great at bats.
Back row on the left.
Hey, Mike, you obviously know the character of your group, having been around them. The way they responded to everything last night, what does that say to everybody else just about the makeup of your group? It just reinforces what I've known, we've known as a group. All we can control is our own way we deal with business, but this is a group that's going to show up and is going to compete regardless of circumstances. That's one of the reasons we got here. Day game, night game, cold, hot, win, lose, we win, we want more. We don't we don't win, we expect to win the next day. It's just about staying in the moment and getting after it.
To Jesse on the left side.
Mike, I know it probably feels like a while ago, but Michael King in that first game against Atlanta, obviously really great. What stood out to you about not only the way he threw the ball, but just sort of his presence that night?
Yeah, great presence. Michael has great presence. He's demonstrated that. We knew that coming in from the intel we got from New York. As part of the reason I'm comfortable that AJ wanted to acquire him. His makeup and his competitive spirit is something that was coveted. His stuff is outstanding as well, but I've just appreciated how he's carried himself, how he's competed. He's a nice, quiet competitor, but he's got some real fire to him. But showed up and was able to harness all those emotions and go out and execute. And once you do that, your stuff is allowed to play, and his stuff is really, really good. I mean, the ball moves tremendously. The two-seamers just, you look at it, it's like, wow, that's really nasty. And then he's got the sweeper, which has got, big-time action to it. And then the changeup is nasty, so he can equalize, righties and lefties. He's just got the complete package. Yep.
Hey, Skip, following up on Toddy, he has such a great innate ability to barrel baseballs. You're right. When he just stays within himself, the ball tends to fly a long way. When he gets in trouble, his swings gets a little long. Are you guys reinforcing to him during the hot streak? Just keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to hit it another 50 feet.
I don't think we need to reinforce it with him. I mean, Toddy's a veteran guy now in this league and has had some experiences. And yeah, I know Vic maybe gives him a cue or two, or maybe even his dad to remind him. But quite candidly, he's really self-aware of what he's doing and how he's when he's at his best. I think we all maybe need an occasional reminder, but it's not anything at the forefront. We trust Toddy completely.
Anything else for Mike? We got Sam up on the riser in the back.
Mike, Higgy's obviously had a big impact offensively, 3 home runs in 4 postseason games. Could you elaborate on what Higgy brings on the other side of the game, behind the plate, working with his pitching staff, and what he's done in that sense all year?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's done a job of being an extension of myself. It's a big part. I always feel like there's a connection with the catcher-manager relationship is important. There's also a really healthy relationship and a connection with Ruben. They talk a lot and, talk through game planning. Peter Somerville, too, does some of our game planning. But, Ruben and Higgy are in lockstep, do a lot of really good communication back and forth. And it's two-way. It's not, top-down. It's same with me. We listen and we express and change or share ideas and thoughts. And then finally, the most important thing is his relationship with the pitchers. That's the most important relationship, is making sure he's synced up with them. They all feel comfortable with him, and he's working with them on how they want to use their stuff and how they're going to attack guys. And he's just got a great demeanor about him as well. He's been a tremendous asset in the clubhouse, a great guy. He got a good energy. He's got a great personality, but really smart, and done a really good job of shepherding our staff.
Any last ones? All right, thanks, Mike.
All
See
right.
you tomorrow.
Enjoy your day.
Manager Mike Shildt on the mic.
I'm upset.
Taking questions. Well, what are you upset for?
Sammy was on a riser in the back. Sam Levitt, everybody, come on.
He was in the back.
Did you notice it took like at least 15 seconds to get in the microphone?
It's a nice little walk to get back
Sammy was
there.
Barely in the building. Come on. We got to get him a front row seat reserved. Sam Levitt we're talking about here.
Sounds like Xander just had a cramp, which is great news.
That would be great news.
A little dehydrated. He'll hydrate here today, get himself. I wouldn't be surprised they got IVs for my man. Like this is that time of year. You get hydrated. We're gonna make sure you are excellently hydrated.
I'm not giving you an IV. The guy hit a home run with one leg.
Yeah, I don't know if he can play any defense on that one leg.
That could have been a problem, yes. I mean, I was just saying earlier, I didn't hit the ball to the warning track I used all my might. He's swinging with one leg, hitting it out of the ballpark. Man.
Michael King going tomorrow for the Padres. I think the other interesting bit of news is that Game 4, he says not necessarily dependent on what happens in Game 3, but Dylan Cease, everyone's on the table for a Game 4. I took that whether they win or lose, everyone's on the table.
I think it'll be Martin Perez.
But either way?
Yeah, I do, because I think if you use Dylan Cease in Game 4, then you got to bring Darvish back on shorter rest for Game 5. So you're going to pitch 2 guys on
Well,
shorter rest.
I think it could be Martin Perez or some type of bullpen day in Game 4, depending on whether they win or lose.
Yeah, you could do Martin Perez and bullpen. You could just pitch Yu Darvish in Game 5 anyway, and you cease to back up Martin Perez in Game 4. There's a lot of different things you can do.
Yeah,
He's going to keep the door open,
Yeah.
which I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of different patchwork ideas.
Like if you
can come
announce
together.
one thing and then you change it, everybody'd give you a hard time.
100%.
So you have to just keep the
That's how this
door
thing works here.
We're using Martin Perez. Wait a minute, I just changed my mind. You can't change your mind. Yes, I can.
You said you were going to use Martin Perez.
You've got to use Martin Perez.
What is happening over here? Sounds like I'm having a conversation on the Skraby show with myself.
Has Mike Shildt turned into? I don't know. I sensed just a little bit of hesitation in the voice of some of those questions.
What do you mean?
What I mean is Mike Shildt intimidating some of these reporters a little bit.
Hey,
I'm
there's
not
nothing
kidding
wrong
you.
with
He
that.
sounds just like, I don't want to say the wrong thing here to you, Mike, so
I
I got to
think-
be careful with this question.
I think he I don't even think he challenges you. I just think
he demands a good question.
That's a good question.
He does.
Right. I can't remember who it was yesterday. Someone asked him about the last 6 innings of the game not going their way, and yes, after game one, and I just knew. I was like, it's not going to be a good one because
it's not going to sit well with them.
They did not play well. They just didn't get the one hit they needed to change the outcome. He's like, obviously we didn't win, but I think it just requires a strong question. I think that's really what it boils down to.
I like guys that challenge you to ask a good question when I have a good question.
I know, right?
But I'm not a big fan when I have to ask something and I'm not really ready.
Because that's the thing. You don't have to ask a question when you're in
right.
that.
That's right.
There is a feeling when you're in that room that you should be asking a question.
I showed
feel
up.
it
I got to
myself.
do something.
I feel it myself. You got to resist the urge to get on there and just ask a stupid
Ask a
question
dumb
for no
one.
reason.
Don't ask a dumb one.
All right, let's get to break. Wait. Well, we're not going to go to break. We're going to stay because Michael King is now on the mic.
Mike, you're fresh off New York, Boston. How did last night compare to the rivalry that you left behind?
Similar, especially in a playoff atmosphere. It definitely makes it a little bit more intense. But yeah, that's what we expect in terms of the atmosphere and also performance.
You've spoken about an evolution of appreciation of Fernando Tatis Jr. from afar, the way you thought about him when you weren't his teammate. What did you see from him last night? And it seems like he kind of relishes playing the villain in that atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely hated pitching against him. He's just such a talent that you never want him up in big spots when you're the opposing team. But as a player, I mean, the guy does not shy away from the moment. And one thing that I admire about him is when he does succeed, which is often, he's celebrating with his teammates. It's never to show up another team or another player. It's like he's just having fun with his teammates, and that's something that I didn't realize when I was playing against him. But as a teammate, he's absolutely incredible.
What could you learn from watching Yu Darvish pitch to that lineup yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, that's why Darvish has had such a decorated career. His demeanor in big games and big spots is something that I'll always admire. I try to be as stoic as possible, but sometimes the emotions get to me. Doesn't seem like it affects Darvish. And even going into that game, if we lose that game, we're down 2-0. It's a big uphill battle for us. So having the composure that he did and how dominant he was, it's always impressive to watch him work.
You're in the third row on the left side.
Kind of circling back to the rivalry between the two teams, how much of that, how aware were you of that when you got traded over last offseason? And, what have you learned and kind of discovered about it since then?
Yeah, I felt like I saw it a lot in the 22 playoffs. I think that was what was in my head coming over here. And then It's honestly, yeah, just how the fans treat each other. You know that there's going to be fights in the crowd. You know that they're not going to be saying nice things when we're in LA. And when you go to a team that doesn't care, you don't see that. Similar in Boston when I was a Yankee, it's fans are going to get on you, and it's one of my favorite things about the game, because I think hearing a pin drop in an opposing stadium is the joy of this game. So feeling that yesterday in the 8th and 9th inning was really fun.
Do you in particular kind of feed off that extra energy when you're out there?
Of course, yeah. I think it's something that as a player you gotta feed off of. You gotta add it to your game and make the pressure become an added privilege. And you know that you're out there playing a kid's game, but when you got thousands of fans rooting against you and cussing at you, it's a lot more fun.
Go to the back row on the left side.
Hey, Michael, what does the response that you guys had as a team last night kind of say about the makeup of this club?
Yeah, big credit to Manny. Manny had us all come together. I also think that the performance is what matters more than the team just coming together and saying we're going to stick together. And seeing that those last couple innings, how we responded was a huge positive. I also think it starts with Darvish. Darvish had however long of a break while he's standing out there on the mound in his 7th inning, and he goes out there and puts up a 0. And at that point, I think it was still 4-1. So it's a big situation for us to calm down the noise. And he put up the 0, kept the momentum on our side, and we went out there and put up however many runs.
You kind of touched on it. You're obviously coming off a high-intensity start, maybe even more juice going into this one. What do you do with that, knowing that it's going to be maybe even more of an edge on the other side and the environment and all that?
Yeah, I think I know I joked in my first one that my pitch count would have to be up a little bit. I think with the opposing team coming in, it'll be a little bit louder. I know that these fans show out, and they're definitely going to make it an uncomfortable environment for the Dodgers.
And then what do you do with the success of your last start? Is it a confidence booster, or are you the type of guy that just flush it and kind of on to the next one?
I'll definitely take a little bit of confidence from it, but definitely needs to be flushed because it's a totally different team. You know, I got a totally different approach. I can't use the same sequences, can't use the same pitches to a lot of these hitters. And then it's just continuing to be able to read swings and trust Higgy. Yeah.
Sam on the riser in the back.
Michael, Yu Darvish did a nice job against Ohtani last night, held him hitless, and he goes 0 for 4. How do you view that matchup at the top of the lineup in particular, and really within the context of their lineup 1 through 9?
Yeah, all credit to Darvish. That obviously he's what makes them go. If you can control him, and I also think if you can keep runners off base when he's at the plate is a huge thing. So he did a phenomenal job. You know, he's Shohei Ohtani, so you know he has the ability to get you even if you execute pitches. And it's really just limiting the damage when he's up there. So I'll definitely be asking Darvish what he was seeing and what his approach was.
Go to Barry, second row on the right.
Hey, Mike. So last night was kind of like I've seen it at a regular Wednesday night at Yankee Stadium. How would you compare the two?
I would disagree. No, I mean, yeah, the Yankee fans are nuts as well. Very fun to play in front of, very fun to play against, and you fully expect that. You know, it's a rivalry. It's a heated baseball game, and we were winning. So it's you get those frustrated fans. So like I said before, it's very fun to see the disappointment on opposing fans' faces, and I hope to continue to do that for the rest of the October.
Michael King's press conference at Petco Park ahead of his start tomorrow night.
There was a lot of narrative surrounding just walking Ohtani at that point, but what does it say about the starting pitchers to go after a guy like that and to take pride and to obviously have success in Game 2?
Yeah, I think it's a confidence booster for not only the pitcher but also the team. I think that all of our stuff, when executed, plays against any hitter. Obviously, Ohtani's probably the best in the game, but it's that competing factor, and they still have Mookie and Freddie and Teoscar behind them. So, yes, you don't want Ohtani to be the guy that beats you, but you also have to be able to execute because you don't want to have to face those three guys with him on base, especially with the speed that he has. So it's a game that needs to be played, but I also think it's a confidence booster to be able to get a guy like that out.
Anything else for Michael? All right, Michael, thanks for coming in. We'll
Thanks,
see you tomorrow.
Game 3 starter Michael King talking to the media. Let's get to break. We've been here listening to the Padres post game. Workout? Jesus, Tony, what is going on?
It's the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame workout show.
There you go. Thank you, Skraby.
Chris is looking around like, what the heck is going on? Michael King.
I was flustered because I saw a video of one of the Dodger fans throwing a beer can towards Toddy, and he is so upset.
Toddy is, of course.
No, not Toddy. The fan. And Michael King just finished talking about how the frustration built up, and I happened to be scrolling, and I ran into this video of this man chugging a beer can, and then a couple pumps towards Toddy. He was quite upset. It was quite funny. All right, let's get to break. More discussion on the other side. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center.
ballpark. Thanks to Dave Marcus helping to set that up. And
shout out to Dave.
My boy Dave. Hey, Dave, thank you. Shout out to Sammy Levitt from getting his questions in from the upper riser in the deep right field corner of that press conference.
He's using your old form of communication, the pigeon.
Carrier pigeon, Tony. Carrier pigeon. Yes, we have a question coming in from a carrier pigeon.
It's from, we all know it's from Chris, okay?
It's from old Haas Ello. He's got a couple of questions.
That was funny. I mean, I hope whoever was carrying the microphone had their step tracker on because they got good
Sam
amount
to
of
be
steps.
fair, far away.
At least the first 2 games we had at home, they have one person on the left, one person on the right with a mic. They kind of put your hand up. He didn't have to walk too far, but he was up on the, what do you call it? The riser?
The upper riser in the back.
I expect Sammy to get better treatment than that.
Maybe he wanted to be in the upper riser.
Sammy, there's a reason why Sammy's
I know why.
on the right, because he's also a filmer.
Yes.
So he's got to set his stand-up.
Okay.
He got to set it, and then, by the way, it was a funny moment the last time. A lot of times the press conference starts, if you happen to roll in late, you kind of have to roll behind the cameras. My man Barry Bloom, no, he's the exception to the rule. Second game of the wild card series, press conference about 10 minutes deep. He just rolled right across the front.
Barry is my guy.
I sat next to Barry at each of the Braves games, and
yes, he couldn't wait to get away from you.
I don't think he was very excited that I was sitting next to him. I tried to stay away from him, but he kept kind of kicking me with his foot a little bit.
Barry's a salty veteran that has been in this game since I was a baby.
He kept doing this thing where he turned to me and just looked at me, and I'm like,
Barry
"You're too close, dude."
Barry kind of feels like since he's been in this game as long as he has, you just kind of have to deal with him.
Yeah, you do.
That's kind of the way Barry's going to be.
I've known Barry for a long time.
Yes, me too.
He loves himself some baseball for sure.
Terrific guy, though. In the long run, Bear, we love you, and we'll see you out at the ballpark, everybody, tomorrow night. We're going to be broadcasting, don't forget, tomorrow live from Baja Rick's Cantina. Live broadcast actually gets underway all day long on 97.3 The Fan, so get down there for breakfast. Ben and Woods will be kicking things off 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Annie and Elston from 10 to 2 tomorrow. And then, of course, pregame, it's us, Gwynn and Chris, from 2 to 5. Baja Rick's located at 176th Avenue. It's across from the Hard Rock. It's presented by Santo Super Premium. That's additive-free tequila, people. Santo, work hard, play loud. We'll be having some fun tomorrow before Game 3 of the series between the Dodgers and the Padres, which, as you know, is now tied at 1. More Gwynn and Chris coming up.
Ben and
3:35 on the clock. Tony Good Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Just finished the Padres presser. Heard from manager Mike Shildt. Heard from Game 3 starter Michael King. Heard some pigeon carrier questions. We heard a little bit of everything in that last segment.
I had a friend that texted me and said, "Man, cold-blooded shot by Tony."
What do you want from me? I mean, you're going to be old someday.
I will be. I will be. But
you better hope. Both of you.
Yeah, you're right. Let me rewind that. God willing, I'll be older one of these days.
There you go.
Let's do what we haven't talked about. We've been, and rightfully so, we've been locked in on the Padres-Dodgers series, which has been fantastic through the first two. But that Mets and Phillies series ain't far behind.
Wow. That game yesterday.
I mean,
it doesn't take a backseat to too many games.
The first game was electric. And then watching the Phillies and Mets go literally back and forth. Vientos hits 2 homers that tie it twice, once in the 9th.
Yeah.
On a fastball that looked like it was like up near his chest, hits it out, and then Philly walks it off. Nick Castellanos, who is seemingly every postseason right in the thick of things, along with Bryce Harper.
Well, first of all, the Phillies had their backs against the wall, right? Because they lost Game 1, and then they're down 3-0, and what was it? Severino was rolling along.
Yeah, he was.
Bottom of the 6th or 7th inning, he had first 2 outs, and then gave up a hit to Trey Turner, and then here came Bryce Harper. And didn't you just know
you did.
He was going to hit a home run in that at bat? I mean, Bryce Harper has that ability in the postseason to rise to the occasion. We know it all too well. And so he hits the 2-run homer, and then Castellanos homers to follow. So now it's 3-3, and the Mets have been taking punches like that for weeks now.
Yes, they have, man.
And every time they take one, they punch back, and Brandon Nimmo hits a home run, and they take the lead back. And I'm thinking, man, this Met team just will not go away. Then Stott got a 2-run triple, and the Phillies looked like they had it wrapped up until Vientos hit another homer. I mean, it was, the mood swings in that, spectacular. And, I don't know where that series is going to go. I think the Mets do have a bit of a magic about them, but Phillies are the Phillies, too. So they'll go to New York, and they might have to give some of the Mets players directions to the ballpark because they have not been in New York for 2 weeks. The Mets.
Skraby, give us that schedule run that they've been on.
Oh, it's pretty brutal. They were in
to finish the regular season.
They went four in Milwaukee.
They went 3 in Atlanta on the 24th, 25th, 26th. 3 in Milwaukee, so that's 6 in a row. Then they had to go back to Atlanta for that doubleheader. That would be a home run. Home run off of Clase.
3-run shot for Detroit. Kerry Carpenter.
Do you remember that name?
Did
he former Padre?
No. The Grand Slam?
No, that was Parker Meadows.
Okay, it was Meadows. I was about to say.
I remember Parker Meadows. But huge 3-run homer there. 2 outs in the top of the 9th gives Detroit a 3-0 lead over Cleveland.
Let me say, this is why nothing is guaranteed. Clase he's probably been the closest thing to untouchable in baseball.
Right.
Really the whole season.
Yeah.
He just got a 3-run tank job off of him.
So
Detroit, it was a bomb, too.
Detroit now is 3 outs away from evening that series. All right, back to the Mets travels.
So basically, since September 24th until yesterday, the Mets had been on the road.
They went to Atlanta, Milwaukee, Philadelphia.
Now they're back home for the first time in 2 weeks, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, they've been playing great ball, and they've been coming up with, 8th inning rallies, 9th inning rallies, time and time again.
Was Pete Alonso, did he have 1 out in the top of the 9th with that?
Home run in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 out in the top of the 9th. It's a 3-run homer to win that series. Lindor did it to get them into the playoffs. On that Monday doubleheader, they were losing, and he hits a 2-run homer in the 9th. And then Vientos did it yesterday, and I thought, the Mets are...
I've got goosebumps, man. I love this type of baseball.
It's been awesome.
I don't know who number 34 in the Tigers is, but he looks like a Detroit Tiger. He's got like a mustache.
Jake Rogers, the catcher for
with the mustache.
Oh, he looks like a Detroit Tiger through and through.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, let's well, first of all, I gotta bring this up. Sorry, man. I can't let you just slide. Chris and I were arguing for GBU. We were told the math wasn't right. We wouldn't have enough time. And then my man Skraby, to his credit, started doing the math when we came on and realized we weren't going to be able to stretch that Mets-Phillies for another 25 minutes. So we'll do a little GBU after some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Couple problems here, guys. Stalled dump truck on the transition ramp south 805 of the eastbound King Freeway. Also stalled car on the Grossmont Boulevard on-ramp to northbound 125. It's over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
How did you navigate your Sunday yesterday? Gwynn and Chris continuing here.
I thought you were asking me.
No, I was asking everybody out there. I was kind of asking everybody out there because, I mean, look, we all had our fantasy football games. It was a week, big day in the National Football League, but got Padres, Dodgers, so I had the DVR on overdrive yesterday, guys. I had tape and everything all over the place.
It's a beautiful thing when, your postseason game starts late in the evening. Yeah,
that helped a little bit.
You can get most of your football out your system.
Yeah, it was a hell of a day in the National Football League. So let's take a look back at the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start it with the Atlanta Falcons. Thursday night football, Kirk Cousins, 509 yards passing. That's the 15th most all-time. Falcons pulled out a thrilling 36-30 win over the Bucs. All of a sudden, we mentioned the other day, Tony, the NFC South doesn't look bad. Tonight, the Saints will play in Kansas City, and who knows? The NFC South was kind of the doormat for a while. It's in Kansas City,
wow.
but
I thought it was
the Chiefs are very much shorthanded in this game. Great game yesterday in Cincinnati. Baltimore and the Bengals. Your guy, Jamar Chase, went crazy. 10 for 193, 2 touchdowns.
That was a real reaction just now.
Yeah.
I hate fantasy.
I know. Right now it's tough. 5 touchdown passes for Joe Burrow. But Lamar Jackson and the Ravens overcame it all to win.
Takes the snap. Quick toss. Henry right side, loses his footing, bounces back up, churns his way forward, and he's in for the touchdown. Derrick Henry with his 100th career touchdown, and the Ravens cap their opening drive with 6.
Ravens got a little lucky at the end. The Bengals picked up a fumble in overtime, and I thought they boxed it up. I mean, they were at the 35-yard line, and they ran 3 straight plunges into the line and set up a 53-yard field goal. That's not a guarantee.
No, I felt like Joe Burrow also threw for like 500 yards.
Yeah,
so why
let
not
him
try
throw
to
one
throw
more.
it a little
Throw
bit?
one more, move closer. Anyway, they missed the field goal, and then the next play, Derrick Henry rumbles like 60 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know how this guy has it in him. In the 5th quarter to still be running that hard
I can tell you as he has
and running away from people.
No, because no one else has it in them at that point to keep tackling him. It's like, you start that mental game of having to tackle that big dude for 4 quarters and an extra one.
No
I'm
thanks.
good.
No thanks.
Ravens 41, the Bengals 38. One more great game in Jacksonville yesterday. Trevor Lawrence celebrating his 25th birthday. 371 yards through the air, a couple of touchdowns. The Jags blew a big 4th quarter lead, though, to Joe Flacco. Best play of the day. I don't know if you saw it. Joe Flacco, 29-yard scramble.
And he looked as slow as it sounds.
Slow as it sounds, but he got there.
It looked like it hurt.
They couldn't get him. Colts tied it up before the Jags pulled it out on a last-second kick. 37-34. Into the bad we go. And I got to believe that Sean McDermott did not want to wake up and look at the newspapers in Buffalo today, because he mismanaged the end of that game. Buffalo had the ball 20-20 with like 20 seconds to go on their own 1-yard line, and they threw 3 passes out of the end zone.
I'm not sure what that was.
I don't know what they were thinking.
If he didn't want to have to read about the paper, no worries. It's all over TV.
It's everywhere. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He can't that in the local coffee shop.
Yeah, he can't ignore it, and so they had to punt out of their end zone. The Texans got the punt, and we're already in Buffalo territory. One play, kick the field goal. Texans pull it out. 23-20.
C.J. Stroud, all sorts of time, loads up, middle of the field, deep shot, wide open, caught. Nico Collins streaks into the end zone. He blew by the coverage, 67-yard strike, C.J. Stroud to Nico Collins. And Stroud stands there posing with his arms crossed.
Raise your hand if you played against Nico Collins yesterday.
Hey, at least he left the game.
Yeah, not till he did that.
I felt like I played against Nico Collins. I felt like everybody had Nico Collins up and down their whole starting.
Can I say this about the Texans uniforms? I'm all for a new design. That was straight out of Create a Team in Madden.
Let me tell you, you guys know how I usually like these alternate uniforms.
Not a fan?
I wasn't a fan.
The H made it look fake. It looked like either Any Given Sunday or Madden.
It looked like some created jerseys out of Madden,
Yeah,
for sure.
It was pretty bad.
23-20. The Texans are 4-1.
Oh, they still won? It's not about the jerseys, Chris?
Not this time.
Okay.
Also in the bad category, your Niners. Vaunted San Francisco 49ers. They are injured. There's no question. They have excuses.
No excuses.
But
We don't care.
Blowing a 23-10 lead in the fourth quarter was a little surprising.
Where have I seen that before?
Also letting Kyler Murray run wild for the Cardinals.
Snap to Murray, and he's going to keep it running to the right. He's got room at the 45-40. He points to the sky as he takes off at the 30, at the 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown. A design run for Kyler Murray.
I've never seen a guy point to the sky at the 45-yard line
with the
before.
guy 2 yards behind him.
Wow.
That's the equivalent of Dion in that Atlanta pick with the 49ers, high-stepping from the 50 all the way in.
I mean, nobody laid a hand on Murray. The 49ers, I think, really still could have won this game, but their kicker got hurt trying to make a tackle.
And that's why kickers don't make tackles.
So they didn't have anybody to kick a game-winning field goal.
He got trucked.
He looked
and his
like
ankle got stuck underneath him, and
it was
his kicking. It was his kicking. He did. Like, he got down like he was about to try to deliver the hit, and it got the hit delivered, and his ankle was at the bottom
Why is he taking that? Like, do you not work on tackling at all, kicker?
Do we? I doubt it.
That
Number
was
one.
probably the worst form.
He's
ever.
a pretty flexible dude, though. I mean, he got low.
He did get low.
he was the low man.
He broke his ankle. I don't know what actually happened, but
he's going to be okay, it looks like. But he wasn't okay yesterday. I do think for sure he definitely hurt his kicking muscle, though, Skraby.
His flexor digitorum.
24-23, Arizona
I gotta
with
say
the
this.
upset.
I got called out on the chat saying they're not a fan of me anymore because I jumped off the 49ers bandwagon.
He's not.
You obviously don't know much about me.
Yeah, no, he's not.
I could never. But this team right now is bad. I saw them lose a 13-point lead to 14-point lead to the Rams a couple weeks ago. Now the Cardinals come back in the fourth quarter and win. Now the media in San Francisco is calling for Kyle Shanahan's job, which I think is crazy. They say that he has a finishing problem.
I'm done with you.
Which he may, because he can't finish Super Bowls.
And I can't stand Kyle Shanahan. But to sit here and try to act like this dude is not a good coach and that you should fire him is asinine.
This particular radio personality, I believe, is a hot take artist.
Oh, okay. That sounds
there we
good.
go.
All right, also in the bad category, Tony, your Raiders. They led 10-0, and they were on their way for another score when Gardner Minshew was picked. 100-yard pick six the other way. Denver gets 34 straight points. How could Denver get 34 points at all? Raiders get blown out in the Mile High City, 34-18. Here is that pick.
Minshew with a play fake, rolling to his left. Now floats one too high. It's going to be intercepted at the goal line. Down the west sideline, intercepted. This is past Surtain. Surtain's going to house call it. 25-20, 15-10, 5 touchdown. And the Broncos on a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown are 1 point away from tying this game.
First announcer ever to use a geographical designation. He was going down the west sideline. Never heard that one before.
Yeah, which way is west, Mr. Radio Guy? Because I'm going west right now.
For those of us who don't live in Denver, we had no idea where Patrick Surtain was. But
that's a great question. I tell you what, the only thing bad about what happened in this is that Denver was on the positive side of it. I'm sorry.
No, you can't do it.
I want Sean Payton to keep losing.
They're 3-2.
They are.
Surprisingly.
They are.
And those uniforms, those need to stay.
And Bo Nix is playing all right.
Those were beautiful uniforms yesterday.
All right.
They need to come back with those because I do not like the
Beautiful
new
uniforms yesterday. All right, in the ugly category, the Dolphins. They won, but man, were they ugly to watch.
There's no highlights for this game on our
Well, there
highlight
shouldn't have
service.
been. I saw their center snap the ball over the quarterback's head twice in the shotgun.
Oh.
I saw their center snap one along the ground to where the holder couldn't set it up for the kicker.
I saw that one.
I saw a punt get blocked by the back of somebody. The Miami Dolphins have turned into a circus all of a sudden, but New England's no better, so Dolphins pulled it out 15-10. Also in the ugly category, I got Denver and the Raiders in here again. I must have really
I forgot to tell you that.
a lot of that game. Well, things happen. We'll move on to Washington and Cleveland then, because the Browns season has gotten very ugly all of a sudden. I don't know how much longer Deshaun Watson can keep playing, guys. 125 yards, average 4.3 yards per attempt. That's like minor league numbers. He was finally replaced by Jameis Winston as the Commanders rolled to the victory.
Jaden loads one up towards Dion. He's got him! Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington! Daniels to Brown on a bomb!
Washington's looking pretty good, huh? 4 straight wins.
Jalen Daniels is turning out to be the steal of the draft
So
right now.
far. I
Yeah.
wonder when they're going to just play him to run and make him beat them with the pass, but
he's throwing some nice bombs over some guys' heads.
No, that was a good throw there. He threw another one that McLaurin couldn't haul in. Would have been another touchdown. You know, you're right, Tony. Jaden Daniels looks unbelievably good right now. Maybe the Heisman voters knew what they were doing there. Washington 34, the 1-4 Browns 13. All right, there's a baseball edition of the good, bad, and ugly.
Now, we have a few seconds.
Wait, do you know what I didn't hear on there?
What?
Because both of you guys have been on his heads pretty good.
What?
It's the Bears.
Oh, Caleb Williams. Yeah, I should have snuck him in there.
I'm so impressed by a win.
Games, Skraby.
I'm so impressed with a win over the Panthers.
Hey, it was a win over the Panthers. They won last week.
I'm just mad because
what's the record?
I don't know, honestly.
3-2.
Bears 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah, the Panthers are bad. I'm
Williams.
not sold on Caleb Williams after a great game against the Panthers, but I will give you the fact that he had a great game. So
he's had back-to-back great
games. That's a step in the right direction.
Quarterbacking a team to a 3-2 record, same as Jalen Daniels.
I think his defense has more to do with that.
I have to say that Caleb Williams, now that he's, you know what's helped him is that they kind of forgot about him after the first couple of weeks. He didn't start well, and people have got the spotlight off of him, and I think that's helped
Daniels
him.
taking the spotlight. But the
That's
questions are still out there of did the Bears take the wrong guy? Because Jaden Daniels looks amazing.
I don't think they took the wrong guy. He'll be all right. But Jaden Daniels is going to be the Rookie of the Year through 5 weeks.
I don't know why Tony's peacocking me over there
What are you
when we're
talking
talking.
about? I'm not even looking at
You're
you.
like,
You saw that?
yes. He's like, what do you have to say about that, Mr. Skraby?
Well, I've been saying the same thing Skraby's been saying.
Well, then you get some too.
I get a
buddy.
little some of that too.
Yeah,
Tigers do finish off a 3-0 win over the Guardians.
1-1.
Excuse me, Kerry Carpenter's 3-run homer in the 9th inning wins it for Detroit. So the 3 series are all 1-1, and the other one is the Yankees and Royals, which is a little later today. All right, we up against the no.
I was going to play this, but we got distracted for a second. It was Dan Orlovsky. He said today on ESPN that the Browns maybe have the worst contract in all of American sports
we
right
already
now.
knew that, though. Dan didn't break the news right there.
No. But Dan's never really that critical. I'm not a big Dan Orlovsky fan.
He's
but
not.
He's not critical. But he was basically saying the owner is forcing this team to start Deshaun Watson because of their investment.
Hey, you made your bed. Now you got to lie in it.
Yeah, if karma isn't paying the Browns back right now, I don't know what karma is. So that's what you get.
Was it me? Did I bring us in?
Yes, I think so.
Let's get
I'm
to
not
break.
sure,
4
honestly.
o'clock hour on the other side. What we got, Kurt Scrape?
We have
Chris Scrape.
We have Sammy Lev caught up with Manny Machado in the clubhouse here just
Boom.
recently.
We'll hear from Manny on the other side. More going to Chris.
And we kick off the 4 o'clock hour here on Gwynn and Chris. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, all three of us together today inside the Odyssey Palace studios. Of course, everybody's getting excited, getting ready for Game 3 of the National League Divisional Series tomorrow, 6 o'clock. A little after 6 o'clock tomorrow night for Game 3, so you get a little extra half hour to get down to the ballpark. And hopefully you'll spend some of your afternoon with us tomorrow. 97.3 The Fan, broadcasting live all day tomorrow at Baja Rick's Cantina. It'll start actually at 6 o'clock in the morning with Ben and Woods. They'll go till 10, then Annie and Elston from 10 to 2. Finally, Gwynn and Chris will be there from 2 to 5 tomorrow afternoon. Skraby will be with me, and I'm sure Tony will be out at the ballpark, but we'll make him part of the proceedings as well. Hopefully you'll be part of the proceedings tomorrow. Baja Rick's, located at 170 6th Avenue, right across from the Hard Rock. It's all presented by Santo Super Premium Additive-Free Tequila. Santo, work hard, play loud. And we invite everybody to be loud at Petco Park tomorrow night, but let's keep from throwing stuff on the field. No retaliation necessary after the Padres win the bad-blooded 10-2 victory in Game 2 last night. 6 home runs, tying an all-time Major League Baseball postseason record. And
added to another list of accomplishments that are just
no
incredible.
Kidding. They've done so many things this year. You're right, Skraby. Good point. Padres have been historic all year long. They won the second most games in the history of the franchise with 93. And don't look now, 10 is a ways to go. But that's all it's going to take to get our first parade. I know, I say it quietly because I don't want to look that far ahead. We got too many things to take care of before we get there.
We are getting closer.
But we are closer.
We
yes,
are closer.
We are closer. For
I keep
sure.
thinking about where my perch is going to be along the parade route as we're broadcasting the parade.
Your perch?
Yeah.
You're going to be on the upper right riser with Sammy Levitt. I
hope so. I could only hope to be in the same.
If you get
place
this,
as Sammy
Sammy will
Levitt.
probably be in the parade. Tony, you'll be in the parade, would you not be?
I have no idea.
I would think you'd be a parade participant. I would
see.
certainly include you.
I mean, what did he do this year?
Let's get there first, and then.
I mean, what did he do this year? First of all, no, I'm not going to say that.
Don't do that.
I was going to.
Where are you going?
I'm not going anywhere.
Nope, we're just going to go.
Because I like Jesse Agler way too much, and I respect him so much. I don't want him to second guess anything that he does.
Yes, I'm just going to look for my place on the parade route.
Okay, you go ahead and do that.
Where do you want to be, Chris?
I want to drive Tony's car. The
you
one that has
his chauffeur.
Yeah, the one that has Jesse and Tony in it. I want to drive their car
As they both do the Pope wave from the vehicle.
There you go.
All right.
Could even use my car if you want. Top down.
Oh, that would be nice. Then everybody knows your license plate number.
They wouldn't know it's my car.
That's true.
Right?
Then you just told them, though.
All right. We are headed towards Monday Night Football here on the program. This evening, it'll be the New Orleans Saints taking on the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get to that at the bottom of this hour. If you're just tuned in, we had Mike Shilt's press conference on a little earlier. We had Michael King's press conference on a little earlier. They seem like both. They're ready to roll for Game 3 tomorrow night. The Detroit Tigers have evened up their series with Cleveland on the strength of a ninth-inning 3-run home run by Kerry Carpenter. Detroit 3, Cleveland nothing. Kansas City, boy, I guess the Kansas City fans got their attention divided tonight, right?
Yeah.
Got the Royals and Yankees playing at the same time as the Chiefs and Saints.
I don't know if their attention is divided.
Where are they going to be? Chiefs?
I think they're a football
with the Chiefs.
town. Yeah. I think they'll definitely be flipping over to see what's going on.
See what the score is,
but the main game will be the Chiefs.
Main thing will be the Chiefs. Well, that's what we got coming up for you tonight. Of course, tomorrow it'll be baseball crazy all day long here on 97.3 The Fan, beginning with the early morning broadcast at Baja Rick's. Right up until Jesse and Tony's call at 5:30. And if you are one of those people that feel like Skraby does, that the Fox coverage of the National League Division Series has been completely one-sided in favor of the Dodgers,
You can either
yell and kick and scream, Or you can just turn the sound down and listen to Jesse and Tony. I mean, that's a very easy solution for you.
That doesn't, you know what that doesn't do, even though I listen to Jesse and Tony all the time? It doesn't take off the huge graphic of Shohei Ohtani that they put up every 5 seconds.
You know what's funny?
Get over it.
Get over it. Look at this right here. I wonder if everybody can see right in the middle of the page there.
I don't think they can see.
Can they not see it?
You're kind of, I see you.
I'm trying to hold up where it says, coverage of Shohei Ohtani is nauseating.
In all caps.
In all caps. That's what Skraby wrote on our sheet for the show today.
I was not the only one at this party I was at who was upset by the coverage of Shohei Ohtani. They acted like Shohei Ohtani was Babe Ruth back from the dead. I understand he's one of the greatest baseball players
but that's
of
really
our
what he
generation.
is. Kind of funny, that's really what he is.
I walked right into that, didn't I?
I hate to say.
Okay, fine, you got me. He is Babe Ruth come back from the dead.
He is literally
I mean, we know the Babe has great speed, as we've seen from the footage, but he never stole 59 bases in a season.
He was like, beady, beady, beady. What was that? Beady, beady, beady,
The Babe could get around there pretty quick, for sure. All right, a couple of other things, and then we're going to get back and finish up on getting you ready for Game 3. But when people say, I know what's going to happen in sports, and I'm predicting this, and I knew it all along, I always call BS on that because nobody knows what's going to happen in sports. And for proof of that, we had Saturday an incredible result in college football. One that I honestly didn't think I would see again in my lifetime. And that was Vanderbilt beating Alabama.
It's never happened before, right?
Well, it happened. The last time it happened was 1984, and I don't even remember that. But this was incredible. Vanderbilt is like, they are the doormat for the SEC. I think they're only in the conference because they have a high academic rate, which brings up the whole conference.
They are a good school.
And for them to beat Alabama in football and beat them the way they did, they scored 40 points on them, and they won the game legit. It wasn't really a game where like Alabama just fumbled, 7 times and Vanderbilt got lucky. Vanderbilt went up and down the field against Alabama. I loved it.
I did too. Obviously.
Alabama wins all the time, and I was so happy for these kids at Vanderbilt. They had to jump on the field, tear down the goalpost. When was the last time a Vanderbilt football fan got to celebrate anything?
Never.
Never, right?
Really?
Yeah, so it was kind of fun to watch that. And there were some other upsets Saturday as well, but that was the biggie. That was the
San
biggie.
Diego State?
Aztecs got a nice win over Hawaii. The thing I liked about it is that, they needed a fourth quarter drive to win the game, and they got it. They were down, losing in the fourth quarter at home, and this is a big boost for the kid quarterback, Danny O'Neal.
Yeah,
and this running back is legit.
He is.
Cooper for the Aztecs has been legit all year long. But yeah, it was a nice win for Sean Lewis. They go to Wyoming this week. But I was happy for the Aztecs to win.
What's the weather like in Laramie?
In Laramie these days?
Let's see.
It's not late enough on the calendar to be too bad. I don't think.
You're right. Next Saturday, high of 74.
A high of 74 next week. Well, that's a balmy. I stood in the snow one day at Laramie on the sidelines and watched Josh Allen have a great game against the Aztecs. So it can get a little chilly up there, but it probably won't be that way this Saturday. Some other things going on. The NFL, there's not a lot of fallout from yesterday. I don't really know what Davante Adams thing is going on with the Raiders. It's kind of driving me crazy. He's on my fantasy team, and I can't even get him in the lineup because he's not. I don't know if the Raiders are going to let him play anymore until he gets traded, right? What are they going to do?
No, that's right. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why athletes sign extensions when they don't want to be in a place. Like, I guess things changed with the Raiders because Davante Adams had Derek Carr, and then Derek Carr was jettisoned real quick.
Did he sign an extension?
Yeah, he did with the Raiders. And so that's what I'm like, dude, you signed an extension. Why are you so mad?
Now they won't even let him play.
Hold on. I got to push back on it a little bit. He signed I think he wanted an extension in Green Bay. They weren't going to give it to him.
He got traded
so
to
they
the
traded
Raiders.
to him to a team that would give him an extension, right?
I'm getting the timeline
when he got there, he
extension.
got that extension under Derek Carr, and then they jettisoned Derek Carr and brought in. I think this is like this new batch is new, right? This is Minshew and is it O'Donnell?
Aiden O'Connell. I mean, anytime you head into the year with Gardner Minshew as your quarterback, I'm sorry to say it's not going to be a good year.
I'll tell you, like athletes will convince themselves at the beginning of this. It's like going into spring training and feeling like you got a shot again, right? They will convince themselves, oh, you know what? Gardner might be able to turn it around. I think we might be able to make this work.
That's why he sticks with them the team he plays for.
But in the second game, Adams caught 10 passes, touchdown. They won the game, beat Baltimore, and now 2 weeks later, they can't do anything?
I think it's also indicative of, remember, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Antonio Pierce was calling his team out for basically quitting in the game. I think all of that is incumbent on a guy like Davante Adams being like, you know what, on second thought, I don't think this is going to work out.
Nah.
There's an out for him, so Davante, that is. After it says potential out 2025.
So it would be after next season.
After
this season.
You know who else is not working out, guys? And I don't think he's ever going to work out? Nathaniel Hackett.
What are you talking about? Garrett Wilson had 13 catches yesterday.
I don't care what he had. The Jets can't score. Skraby, they have 93 points in 4 games this year with Aaron Rodgers. They had 93 points through 4 games last year with Zach Wilson.
Wow.
They're no better with Aaron Rodgers. Nathaniel Hackett's just clueless. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers
really
says
tough to
about
argue
him
against this at this point.
It really is.
I mean, because the whole thought was, they're just missing Aaron Rodgers. Once he comes back, they'll be slinging this football around like they were in Green Bay all over again.
Not happening.
Hasn't looked anything close to that.
Too bad Robert Saleh is going to go down with the ship because of Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's going to go down with the ship because of Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, he hung with him.
And I think that's because Aaron Rodgers likes Nathaniel Hackett.
If the first chance Saleh gets, he better abort mission on him first.
Yeah. I guarantee you he likes Nathaniel Hackett because he's got him wrapped around his, Rodgers just tells Hackett what's going on. Wrapped around his finger. What's the matter with that?
Oh, a finger.
God, why your mind is terrible.
I wasn't the only one.
Speaking of that game, congrats to your guy, Kevin O'Connell. 5-0 with the Vikings.
I got to say, he's doing some coaching right now.
Both him and Chris's old head coach doing some coaching over
Brian
there.
Flores.
Brian Flores.
Yes, and not too shabby to just steal that Van Ginkel guy away from the Dolphins.
Yeah,
I don't understand when guys like him make play after play after play
and
after
it's so
play.
easy to get rid of him.
And then they're like, oh, we don't need him. Yeah, you do. He's already scored 3 touchdowns this year.
And
your team's paying Tyreek, so.
And Flores knew that because he coached him.
That's right.
Yeah, this dude
Flores brought him in.
That's
smart.
a good point.
Smart for the Vikings. All right, we'll finish up with some Padres stuff. We're going to Sammy's visit with Manny Machado coming your way.
Correct.
So stick around for that. Get your, more ready as you could ever be for Game 3 between the Padres and Dodgers. Don't forget Baja Ricks all day tomorrow, including our show from 2 to 5. Traffic now on Gwynn and Chris.
From the 97.3 The Fan.
get right to what Manny Machado had to say.
Yes. I didn't know you were going to go
Oh,
that
well,
quick.
you said let's go right to
did,
it.
I did.
Did he not say that, Chris?
It's amazing how many times he gives direction, and then when we follow it, he's not ready.
It's amazing how many times you guys follow direction after I've given. Okay,
This
here
is
we
one
go.
of those
Here we go.
times.
Here's Manny Machado.
It's very entertaining for the fans. Is it as fun for the players as well?
I mean, we're just focused on going out there and trying to win the game, right? 1-1 series, come back home. Feels great to come home and play in front of our fans. So, excited for the game tomorrow.
The mid-game meeting that you called in the dugout. When did that hit your brain? This is something I should do. Just immediately before that.
Honestly, I have no idea. Just came out and just trying to rally up the boys and get the guys going. It's a tough game. The game was far from over, and we had to continue to go out there and get 6 more outs, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Manny, how do you feel like you've grown since you signed with the Padres as a leader and stepped it up every single year and obviously leading the guys? And they responded with four runs after you spoke to them.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what the task in hand is here, and we're focused on that, and we're going to continue to do that every single day. They've shown it all year. This team has been resilient all year, man. They've been fighting and coming back from a lot of things and dealing with adversity, dealing with injuries, and guys have stepped up in big situations. 1 through 40. So we got to continue doing that.
How good has Michael King been lately?
Yeah, he's been pretty good. Been pretty good for us. Game on the line. Let's come back home. I don't think would rather have anybody on the mound, but that might go on there for us.
Coming out of a dramatic and emotional win like last night, what's the mentality now as far as turning the page and facing tomorrow?
Honestly, I haven't really thought that far ahead. Just trying to get out here, get us going today. Kind of just get the body moving, and hopefully start game planning a little bit here for the matchup tomorrow, which is Buehler, and how we're gonna go out there and try to compete and try to beat them.
And finally, your thoughts on
one of the things that always stands out about Manny is for his willingness to talk about his decision to bring the team in. He has literally turned the page. Like he didn't really want to even go back down that road again. Like, yeah, I thought about when I thought about it. We get it. It's a new day for him. Like, he's not even thinking about tomorrow yet. He's thinking about right now and getting himself
having the best day they can today.
And so, you admire that about.
It's not what we want to hear, though. We want to hear, we're going to crush Buehler tomorrow, and
Right.
That's what we want to hear. But we're not gonna.
No.
Manny's the ultimate pro. Before we say, what time do we got to go till, Skraby? Do we have a time before the Monday night game?
26:30.
Oh, no, we only have 2.5 minutes. Tony, you got to explain. You and I discovered, we unearthed
figured out
the real reason why he's so upset with Ohtani.
They think.
No,
we're right.
We're pretty sure. We're pretty sure
we're right.
Obviously, with Ohtani in this series, more media coverage.
Yeah.
Credentials are a little harder to come by.
Yes, they are.
Skraby was a casualty.
I'm a 7-year vet of this station.
He was a casualty.
He was a casualty of not getting a credential.
Good word, Tony. You've come up with some good ones today.
Hey, man, I got some good teachers, man. I get to hang with you for a lot. I get to hang with Jesse. Listen, he's upset. That's what I couldn't figure out why he.
Why does he hate Ohtani so much?
And our listeners know. Anytime Skraby is hung up on someone or something,
right? There's a reason
for it.
That's right.
He can't go to the game. You couldn't get a credential
because there's so many Ohtani media people, and that is why
it's kind of crazy that
he's ripping Ohtani up one side and down the other.
I think it's kind of crazy that they're limiting tickets to the LA people, but they're not limiting media for Dodgers.
No, they got to grow the game, baby. You're growing the game in the media.
This is not why I'm mad at Ohtani.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
No. I'm actually more mad at Chris than anything because Chris got selected to go.
Because I wasn't a casualty?
No, you were not a casualty. I understand why. I just think, as a 7-year veteran of the station, I should be able to get a pass.
Well, I think you got as much time as Ello does here at the station. Both 7-year vets.
But
I think we're all 7-year vets at this point.
At this point, we are because we all started on the same show at the same time.
Should we get in a fight with Annie while she's not here? She's not a 7-year vet.
But Annie goes to every game, so
and I go to
I'm
a ton
fine.
of games too.
And then you go, "Look at me, everybody!"
So not what I do.
I'm actually not mad at Chris. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm actually going to the game tomorrow. I have
You won't have a credential.
A friend, a really nice person taking me to the game.
A friend, huh?
That is nice.
A friend, yes.
Good.
Yeah.
That is nice. Tony, you going to be there?
I
You
will
get a
be
credential,
there.
Tony?
I got a
You
credential.
got a credential? You're in?
Yes, I'm in.
Good. All right.
I will say I drove up to Los Angeles yesterday. It was nice being able to skirt
you
on.
went home between games?
No. I'm saying I drove up, but I was able to drive back. I didn't have to
Oh.
take the bus,
yeah.
drive by my house,
Go to
Petco
Petco.
Park, and then come back.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yes.
How many of those guys took the bus home?
I think everybody did. I think me and Dave Marcus were the only two people who drove.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We got home earlier.
Dave Marcus didn't want to ride with you?
I can see that conversation going well. Hey, Tony. Oh, tell me when we're in San Clemente.
You think he'd go to sleep on me?
No, he just wants to see the nuclear tower, you know.
I just learned about that, by the way.
You just
My wife
learned?
pointed it out to me on the drive up.
That's hilarious.
All right, Monday Night Football follows. More Gwynn and Quist tomorrow. Take care. With.